This episode, Interface, is the 8th video in the series that goes along with James R. Parker's book, Generative Art, Algorithms as Artistic Tool.
If we're going to have a viewer participate in an artwork, and generative art is perfect for that, then we need to have some way for the viewer to affect the work itself. There are a number of ways we can do that, and everyone knows about touchscreens. The simplest way, of course, is with a mouse or a keyboard, and those are interfaces to the computer, but in fact, they're interfaces to a computer program that determines how the mouse is moving, what keys you've pressed, where your finger is on the screen, and they do something in response to that. So this is what the interface is. And so the easiest thing to do in the first part of the chapter is really very much about buttons and mouse motions and keyboard presses. But as we move further, it's easy to see how we could do other things. So what we have is cell phones. All cell phones have cameras. Most computers have cameras. And so we could have an artwork that would respond to what the camera was seeing. This is a more complex version of our previous chapter on images. So now what we can do is capture an image with the camera, and based on some aspect of that image, make the artwork respond. If it sees one person, for example, it does one thing. If it sees two people, it does something different. And in this way, the artwork seems to respond to multiple sources of input, to what seem like gestures by human beings. You can wave at it, and maybe it'll wave back. All of these things are relatively easy to do once you use some of the rules that we talk about in this chapter. And they are really about extracting information from images and then using that to affect a change in your artwork. Some of the specific examples in the chapter include using a camera to follow a laser pointer. And so you can actually write using your laser pointer on the wall and create a text. To use hand gestures to manipulate a picture that you're seeing. To use as I said, the number of people in a scene, to use even sound. And so all of these things are discussed in some detail in the chapter, and code for these things is provided, which you can then change and manipulate for your own works.
In the next part, Jim Parker discusses net art and web art. The book, Generative Art, Algorithms as Artistic Tool, is published by Derweil and Uproot Books.